and one other that kind of came to prominence during the period of the Reformation,
Right.
where the Reformed thinkers rediscovered the doctrine of the fall of man and the realization that humans are fallen not only in their impulses but in their intellect, such that we can easily jump to conclusions and have biases. And so they were aware that our theorizing needed to be checked against experience. We needed to make sure that our ideas were not a matter of subjective bias and that they really matched the world. So that also led to the impulse to investigate empirically.
And here's the thing, is that people must say, I'm not sure I believe that, that during the Reformation and during that time period, way back then, that this is really true. But you can prove it, anybody that goes to a library, all right? There were 3 metaphors that show up in books. They have pictures of them. And talk about the 3 metaphors that were just all over the place that these guys used in their writings. They put pictures of them. They talked about them. What are the 3 metaphors?
Well, this really hit me my first year as a graduate student in Cambridge when I was studying the history and philosophy of science. As I read the primary sources of figures like Robert Boyle, the great chemist, or Johannes Kepler, the astronomer, or Sir Isaac Newton, they continually used these metaphors that were clearly theological in character. And one of those was the idea that nature is a book, or like a book.
Yeah.
Just as God has revealed himself through Holy Scripture, the book of the Bible, God has also revealed himself through the book of nature. And this metaphor implied, again, the intelligibility of nature. It's something that we could read and understand. But it also implied that there was a divine source. And so it also legitimated science as a separate realm of inquiry, because if God had revealed himself through the natural world, there were some questions we couldn't answer just by reading the Bible. We had to look at the other book to
Right.
to understand what he was telling us. So that was one of the key metaphors that you saw over and over. Another one was the idea of nature is like a clock, which implied that nature as a system was designed. And this was one that you found repeatedly in the works of Robert Boyle. He said that nature, 'tis like a rare clock, where all things are so skillfully contrived that the engine being once set moving, all things proceed according to the artificer's design. So you have the idea that nature has a regularity to it, as clockworks does, and that regularity is a product of an aboriginal design of a great mind, namely the mind of God.